All right, webheads, it's Tuesday. It's time to get ready for the top 10 most anticipated comics of the week. Hey, all my webheads out there, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And fans, I am your host, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to bring you the top 10 most anticipated comics for December 9th, 2020. Guys, it's never too early to start that pull list for next week, and hopefully this list helps you make decisions of what comic books to buy. And fans, before we get started, if you would like to go onto my home screen, hit that join button right there. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. It really helps support the channel, and I want to appreciate and thank all of you for taking the time and watching, commenting, and doing all that great stuff on Comic Book Corner 2.0. So without further ado, guys, let's get started with this week's top 10 most anticipated comics with that hot seat. That's right. And this week's hot seat has got to go to two books. So the first one is on the Marvel side, and this goes to the new number 1, straight out of 10 of Swords, and this goes to Sword issue 1. Obviously, that Sword Space Station was the 10th Sword. It was a major player in the 10 of Swords, and now we have a book based off of it. We have Abigail Brand, who looks like she's making her way back as well, and it looks like our heroes here are going to have to fight some extraterrestrial beings, and this book is 44 pages, $5 for that first issue. So if you're looking for a new title to jump on, this is it right here. So check it out if you want. All right, and the other hot seat book this week, it goes to Endless Winter Part 2. So the reason why this is in the hot seat is because the part 1 of Endless Winter actually comes out this comic book week, and I still haven't read it. So how can it be higher on the list if I still haven't read Chapter 1 yet? But it is still on the hot seat. Looking forward to seeing what Chapter 1 has to offer. This one has to do with Black Adam and possibly helping the Flash out. Not exactly sure. What's the connection to everything? What really is this story about? We're still yet to be determined. So we'll see what happens with Endless Winter in general. There's only 9 parts to this. It's not an overly huge event. It just takes place in December. So we'll see what happens. It's 32 pages and it's $4. All right, so now let's kick off the official countdown with number 10. And number 10 goes to Avengers Enter the Phoenix. This is issue 39. So we have a whole Phoenix event going on now with the Avengers. And I have not read the Avengers in such a long time. There has to be a story that's going to interest me, right? So when you have a story that has to deal with the Phoenix Force, this does intrigue me. So it at least gets me to pick up this prologue issue. And then at least probably the first part of that story arc, okay? So we'll see what happens with it. It's 28 pages and it's $4. All right, next, coming in at number 9. If you're a fan of Batman, which most of us are, and you're a fan of Batman Black and White, well, we have it. It's back once again. Batman Black and White, issue 1. The iconic anthology series returns with a brand new slate of comics, more exciting and innovative storytellers to explore the Batman mythos in stark black and white in this debut issue. You have writers like James Tynion IV, you have Tradd Moore, you have a whole bunch of other writers on there. I think Paul Dini and Adam Kubert does the art in there. So there's a lot of different stuff here to be offered. I know that fans of Batman are going to want to pick this one up. Black and white artwork is kind of cool. And so, yeah, 48 pages, $6. Moving on to number 8, we have Sweet Tooth, The Return. This is issue 2. This is written by DC Comics, and this book is pretty good. I never read the first volume of this, so I was like, well, why not pick up the second volume, see if I can jump on board. Jeff Lemire is the writer of this, and it's about the character who wants to escape his own world and his father because he feels like he's been trapped all this time since he's like a little boy. And at the end of the first issue, this is a spoiler in case you haven't seen it, he escapes his home world or his land and goes out into the open world. And his father told him there was nothing else out there. Everything was dead. And so he goes out there and he sees this world, and that's kind of how the first issue ends. So I was like, wow, this really actually interests me. So I wanted to see what issue 2 has to offer. And yeah, so that's that. All right, next, coming in at number 7, this goes to Detective Comics. This is issue 1032, Batman and Robin. Pretty cool book. It says Batman and Robin no more. That's basically what's going on. And this has to do with Damian, who took Batman's Black Book. And this story had to deal with a character by the name of Mirror. Now, there is no spoiler here because it's right there on the cover. It says, Hush, Little Robin, okay? In the description, all it talks about is how Hush is the villain. So we got announced that Hush is actually the Mirror, right? And he has his agenda, and of course Batman has his agenda, and Damian has his agenda, and they're all fighting each other. Interesting book. I like it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a nice little backup story, or a different story from what we're getting from James Tynion's run. So this one is 32 pages, and this is $4. All right, next, this independent book from Image Comics. This one is Homesick Pilots, issue 1. This comes in on the number 6 spot. And this takes place in the summer of 1994. And there's this haunted house in California. And there's this girl who's inside of it. And she's been missing for weeks, and she is in a high school punk band. And so the description of this book says it's a cross between Power Rangers and The Shining. How that even is, I'm just dumbfounded by it. So that's what really intrigues me on picking this up. And in 1994, that's the year I graduated high school. And that was when I was obviously really into that type of music. Like I was into like Stone Temple Pilots and like all that music back then, right? Nirvana and all that, I guess, depressing music. So that was the timeline then. So this definitely is right up my alley. Want to check it out. So there you have it, guys. All right, next, coming in at number 5, we have The Amazing Spider-Man. This is issue 54, Last Remains. This is part 5. The cover on this book alone just is awesome, right? As you get to see Spider-Man's face just right up in your face, and it's so close that you get to see the reflection of his eyes where he's shooting his web shooters and you see the city and everything. That's a great cover, man. Really nice main looking cover there. And basically, we have the continuing of him and Kindred going at it, and it's the punishment of Spider-Man at the hands of Kindred continues, but Kindred isn't just punishing Spider-Man anymore. So we're still yet to see what happens. We wind up getting the revelation of who Kindred was, how this affects Spider-Man going forward, what's Kindred's end game, what's he going to do to continue to torture Peter. It's still yet to be determined. It's been okay, you know, but it's just been really a slow burn up until this point. All right, so moving forward to number 4, and number 4 goes to 7 Secrets, issue 5, written by Tom Taylor, and Casper is our main character who's been training to be the keeper or the holder of this secretive case. And then the last issue, spoilers, we wind up getting to find out who the bad guys were and who the bad guy is related to, and what their agenda is, and what the other people's agenda is. So basically what this book is you want to think that Casper and his group of people are good. But by the time you get to read the last issue, issue 4, you're kind of wondering as the reader, am I going for the wrong side? Is the other side the good people? And they're not wrong because they have different beliefs. So really interesting book, and they're trying to outsmart each other. Great character development. Love this book. Definitely a book that I feel is under the radar. people that do read it, they really enjoyed it. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go ahead and check it out. This is 32 pages and this is $4. All right, next. Coming in at number 3, this is Donny Cates' crossover. This is issue 2, and it's called Kids Love Chains Part 2. So obviously we get to see this event that has happened in a town where the shield has formed over it and all the superheroes came through, or villains came through, and they destroyed this town. Comic books are frowned upon because of modern day comics. It has destroyed this place. And basically, we have the last comic book store on Earth, and someone has slipped through that barrier, and all hell has broken loose at the end of it. I thought it was an interesting book, definitely different. I know some people may not agree with me here, but there's a story to be told, so I feel that giving it a couple more issues to really see where the characters and the story fleshes out is really, you know, detrimental to see if this story really pans out and becomes good. So I think it was pretty good. Not quite what I expected, but I still think it's interesting storytelling here. This book is 32 pages and it's $4. All right, so moving on to number 2. Number 2, we have Red Mother issue 11. I praise this book every time it comes out, and I will say it again. If you guys have not read Red Mother, if you want a horrific, supernatural, mystery type of book, this is the book for you. This is done in by Boom Studios. It's 32 pages, $4. So well written, and the artwork is great. I bet in trade it probably reads like this, because when you read this book, it is totally a page turner. You just want to see what happens next. The pacing is phenomenal. Such a great book. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. And moving on to number 1, my most anticipated comic book of next week goes to Venom issue 31. This is the King in Black tie-in book. This is the one tie-in that you're going to want to read when it comes to King in Black. And so it just says here in the description, King in Black arrives. What happens to Eddie Brock when he finally comes face to face with the Lord of the Abyss? The King in Black? No. All right, so like we said, this is the King in Black tie-in that you're going to want to pick up. So I'm totally excited about this one, and it's finally arriving this particular comic book week. Can't wait to talk about King in Black. Guys, leave me all the comments below on what you think is your favorite King in Black series, what you think is your favorite top 10 book of the week, all that great stuff. Guys, thank you so much for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that bell. I'll leave you more content to check out right here. Until next time, guys, enjoy this video. See you guys real soon. Take care.